You ate dinner an hour ago, you are sitting on the couch, and right now inside your body, something is happening that will determine whether that meal becomes energy or becomes fat permanently stored around your organs. A 2025 study published in Scientific Reports just confirmed something so simple it sounds like a joke. 10 minutes. That is all the difference between a meal that spikes your blood sugar into the danger zone and a meal that your body processes cleanly, efficiently, and without storing a gram of excess fat. 10 minutes of walking immediately after eating beats 30 minutes of walking done later, not slightly, measurably, significantly. And the reason why, the actual biology of what happens inside your muscles and bloodstream in those 10 minutes, is something most people will never hear from their doctor. Here is the micro-revelation that changes everything before we go further. Your muscles have a secret ability that almost nobody knows about. They can pull sugar directly out of your bloodstream, without insulin, no hormone required, no pancreatic response needed, just muscle contraction. And this ability is active for approximately 90 minutes after you finish eating. Every minute you sit after a meal is a minute that window is closing without being used. Now, here is the first plot twist, and this is where everything you thought you knew about exercise and blood sugar breaks down completely. Most people believe that the best strategy after eating is to rest and let your body digest. Give it time, don't stress it. This advice sounds logical. It is biologically backwards. A February 2026 analysis in National Geographic confirmed that immediately after eating your body enters what scientists call rest and digest mode, a period when the gut and brain communicate intensively and the bloodstream floods with glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids from the meal you just ate. This is not a time to rest. This is the most critical metabolic window of your entire day. What you do in the 90 minutes after eating determines whether that glucose circulates safely and enters your cells, or remains in your bloodstream long enough to trigger an extended insulin response that signals your body to store the excess as visceral fat around your organs. The moment you stand up and start walking, even at a gentle pace, your muscle cells begin contracting, and contracting muscle cells activate GLUT4 transporters, the proteins that pull glucose from your blood into your muscle tissue, completely independently of insulin. You are essentially bypassing the entire hormonal system and directly redirecting the sugar from your meal into your muscles where it gets used as fuel rather than stored as fat. Now here is the mid-video revelation that most people watching will not expect. You have heard of insulin resistance. You have heard that chronically high insulin is linked to weight gain, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and accelerated aging. What you have almost certainly never heard is this. Every time you sit for 90 minutes after a meal, you are training your body to rely on higher and higher insulin spikes to manage your blood sugar. And every time you walk for 10 minutes after a meal, you are training your body to need less insulin to do the same job. The 2025 Scientific Reports study found that a 10-minute walk immediately after glucose intake was more effective than a 30-minute walk started 30 minutes after eating. Not just slightly more effective, the timing mattered more than the duration. And a 2022 meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine found that 2 to 5 minute interruptions of sitting with light walking, not 30 minutes, not even 10, significantly reduced postprandial glucose and insulin spikes in adults. 2 minutes. The threshold for this effect is lower than anyone in the fitness industry is telling you. This is not about burning calories. This is about preventing the insulin cascade that happens when glucose sits in your bloodstream unhandled for too long. A randomized crossover study in PubMed found that people with type 2 diabetes, who walked 10 minutes after each main meal, had significantly lower postprandial blood glucose than people who did a single 30-minute walk at another point in the day. Same amount of total walking. Completely different metabolic outcome, based entirely on timing. And here is the detail that makes this relevant to everyone, not just diabetics. The same mechanism operates in healthy people. The same glucose spike happens after every meal. The same insulin response follows. The same visceral fat deposition risk exists, especially after dinner, when insulin sensitivity is naturally at its lowest point of the entire day. Here is the additional hook most people never reach, because they stop reading before they get here. There is a second mechanism activated by post-meal walking that has nothing to do with blood sugar. The 2026 National Geographic analysis confirmed that the gut-brain axis, the bidirectional communication highway between your digestive system and your brain, is most active immediately after eating. And walking during this window activates the vagus nerve, reduces cortisol, improves gut motility, and accelerates the transit of food through your digestive system. A 2021 randomized clinical trial found that even a short walk after meals significantly reduced bloating, accelerated gastric emptying, and improved IBS symptoms. The gut cleaning system we covered in our gut health video, the migrating motor complex, responds directly to movement after eating. Your gut processes food faster, bloating reduces, the food moves through the correct digestive pathway instead of stagnating. And here is the third mechanism, one that connects directly to the longevity science we covered in our fasting video. Walking after dinner specifically, not breakfast, not lunch, but dinner, reduces the insulin response from your last meal of the day. Lower insulin after dinner means a cleaner, deeper overnight fast. A cleaner overnight fast means more hours of fat oxidation during sleep. More hours of fat oxidation means more total visceral fat burned by the time your morning walk begins. The 10-minute post-dinner walk is not just helping your dinner, it is setting up the conditions for your entire overnight metabolic recovery. The same recovery that our fasting video showed determines your immune function, your growth hormone output, and your cellular repair rate. Now here is the final plot twist, the one that reframes everything we have covered today and connects it to something much larger. You have been told your whole life that the key to weight loss is burning more calories during exercise. Run harder, go longer, push more. But the 2025 research tells a completely different story. A 10-minute walk burns approximately 50 to 60 calories. That is essentially nothing in the traditional calorie math. And yet that same 10-minute walk produces a measurable reduction in postprandial glucose, a measurable reduction in insulin spike, a measurable improvement in insulin sensitivity that persists for hours, a measurable acceleration in gut transit, and a measurable extension of the overnight fat-burning window. The 10-minute walk after meals is not burning fat. It is preventing fat storage. It is retraining your insulin response. It is building the metabolic flexibility that makes everything else in your health protocol work better. And it does this at a biological cost so low, 10 minutes of gentle walking 3 times a day, that the real question is not whether you can afford to do it. The real question is how much fat you have stored in the years you did not know about it. Your complete post-meal walking protocol as of June 2026. Walk within 10 minutes of finishing each meal. Gentle pace. You do not need to break a sweat. Minimum 10 minutes, maximum 30 minutes if you have time. After dinner is the most critical window. Your insulin sensitivity is lowest in the evening, and the insulin spike from dinner without movement is the primary driver of visceral fat accumulation over years. If you cannot walk outside, pace indoors, climb stairs, do anything that contracts your leg muscles continuously, 2 minutes is enough to begin the glucose-lowering effect. 10 minutes maximizes it. 30 minutes extends it further. Start with dinner tonight. That is your first order. If this video changed how you think about the 30 minutes after your meals, hit like. It tells YouTube to show this to the people sitting on their couches right now who need to hear it most. Comment below what meal you are going to walk after first. I read every single comment, and the answers will shape the next video in this series. And next week I am revealing the one mineral that 45% of Americans are deficient in, that directly amplifies every single benefit of post-meal walking: better glucose control, deeper sleep, lower cortisol, stronger gut motility, and faster visceral fat loss simultaneously. If you have been walking after meals and still not seeing the results you expected, this is almost certainly why. Subscribe so you do not miss it.